keeping their distance, they called out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he had been healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except for this foreigner?" Then he said to them, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well." Here ends the reading of the words that give us insight to God. May God grant us wisdom and courage of these interpretations.
Friends, I've got an amazing story that I have to tell you. You're not going to believe it. My name's Simon, and I am so filled with joy. As you can tell, I've got so much to share with you. And the amazing thing is that a few moments ago, I wouldn't have even been able to tell you. Even a few days ago, if I had sat this close to you, you would have recoiled and jumped up and run away. I trust you won't do that now. I'm filled with joy. I have to share my story. It all started a couple of years ago. I looked down at my left arm, and there was this reddish-white patch of skin. At first, I didn't think too much of it. I fish for a living, and I thought maybe I'd hit my arm on my boat. But before long, it started to spread. At first, I just covered it with my sleeve, but it eventually spread to my hand, and I couldn't hide anymore. I had to go to the priest to find out what was wrong. That's what we do when something like this happens. We go to the priest to figure out what's going on. And so I went to the priest, and he looked at it. He told me to burn my clothes, and he told me to wash my arms and my hand, and to come back 7 days later. So that's exactly what I did. I went home and I burned my clothes and I washed my arm and my hand every day for 7 days. But when I woke up on the 7th day, I looked down and it was the same, maybe even worse. And so I knew in my heart of hearts what was going to happen. I went to see the priest and he looked up at me and said, "Serat." Leprosy. This looks different for different people, but for me it's this reddish-white patch of skin. And I knew what it meant when he said Serat. I knew it meant I was going to have to wear torn clothes. I knew it meant I was going to have disheveled hair and move out of town. This is the law. You have to look like this so that people will know that you're unclean, that they can't touch you. And just in case they can't tell, if someone accidentally comes up to you, you have to cover your mouth and yell out, "Unclean, unclean." He looked up at me and said, "Serat." I didn't even have time to tell my family. I just had to leave town, stand outside the city walls. But I knew that people wouldn't feel bad for me, because this is seen as a physical manifestation of a spiritual disease. But I kept racking my brain, and I couldn't think of what it could have been. What did I do? I'd never murdered anyone, never committed adultery. Usually we think of this thing being caused by someone spreading malicious rumors, but I'd never done that, to my knowledge. I mean, sure, I'd talked with my friends every once in a while, but never spread a malicious rumor. I'd never stolen anything other than when I was a small child. I was in the marketplace with my mother and I grabbed a fruit and ate it, but I was so hungry and I went right back and apologized. I'd tried not to be too prideful. I'd tried to share. And I could think of many more people who had lived far worse lives than I had who weren't punished. Why did God do this to me? It couldn't have been God, I don't think, because I know that there were far worse people than me. I was alone on the edge of town. I did see some other people with the same disease, but they looked far worse than I did. These were the very people that I had been trying to avoid my entire life, that I had kept my distance from. And their disease was far worse than mine. It had spread all over their bodies, even their face, and it made my stomach churn. But you spend enough time alone, and you begin to long for other people. And so, after a while, they became my people. They became my friends and my family. Each day would go like this. Each day we would go outside the city gates and we would sit down and we would wait. No one could get too close to us, and we had to stay far away from them. And we would hope that people would bring us the food that we needed. They always would, but they would just kind of sit it out and they would keep their distance. They wouldn't even look at us in the eyes. They didn't even see us as human. Every day was like that. Wishing that someone would see us as people. I'd given up hope. But I began to hear rumors of this wonderful man named Jesus. I heard rumors that he was feeding multitudes of people and that he would sit down and eat with people, even people like me who were unclean. And so each day I would sit there on the edge of the city and I would wait. I would look, I would hope against all hope that maybe he might come. Day after day, he didn't. Until one day, off in the distance, there I saw him. And I knew it was him because he was surrounded by many people who were following him. I wanted to jump up and I wanted to run to him and cling to him and beg for his mercy. But I couldn't. I didn't have the energy. And even if I had, the law forbade it. I managed to stand up and I shouted out, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on me." But he didn't hear. So I shouted again, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on me." But I needed help. I needed others to join their voices with me. Would you join your voices with me? "Jesus, Master, have mercy on me." And he heard. He turned his head and he walked over to me. And he saw us. He saw me as a person. And I could tell because for once, for the first time in a long time, he looked at me right in the eyes. And he said, "Go and present yourselves to the priests." And I looked down at my arms, and I thought, is this guy kidding? Go and present myself to the priest? Look at this. The priests are the ones who sent us out here. Why would I go and present myself to the priest? Isn't this the guy who feeds the multitude? Isn't he going to give us food? Isn't he going to sit down and eat with us? Why is he sending us back to the very people who sent us away? But what did I have to lose? My life right now was a bit like a living death. And so I started walking. And as I walked, I began to feel myself with more energy. And I looked down and my hands were made clean. And so I didn't even look back. I didn't even look at Jesus. I didn't look at my friends. I just ran. I ran straight to the priests. And I said, Look at me, I am clean. And the priest declared that I had been made clean. And I bet you know what I did after that. I went straight home. I went to my family. I went to my friends, and we ate and we drank like we had never eaten before. We celebrated all night. It was a joyful evening. And I laid down in my bed for the first time in so long, and I slept better than I had ever slept before. It wasn't until the next morning when I awoke that I realized I hadn't even told Jesus, thank you. So I got up and I got dressed and I began to run through the streets. I began searching for him, looking for him everywhere, hoping that I might find him and be able to tell him, thank you. But he was gone. I walked back to the edge of town. I saw my friends, the people who'd had Surat, and they looked new. They were made clean. They looked like I had never seen them before. The town was abuzz with what had happened, of course, and I heard that there was only one person who'd gone back, one person out of the 10 of us. He wasn't even from our town. He wasn't even from our country. He was from Samaria. Why Jesus had even healed a Samaritan, I don't know. But here was this foreigner who, once he had been healed, ran up to Jesus and kneeled at his feet and said, thank you. There was nothing that I could do. He was gone. But I felt so grateful in my heart. And so I have resolved that I am going to live each and every day as if it is a gift. Because it is. That I am going to live my life inspired by the generosity of God. That I am going to be generous as well. That I'm going to reach out to those who are poor, sick, weak, and lonely because I know what it feels like to be poor, sick, weak, and lonely. And so today, I give thanks to God with a grateful heart. How about you? Will you join me? Amen.